Senator Vernon Trent promises no new taxes.
You can take that to the bank.
Money now and a lot more when I get in that office. I can take that to the bank.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
Hi there everyone, this is Jeff aka 101 Bronson back here again today with another video, and it's going to be another top 10. And today's subject is going to be Steven Seagal movies. Yeah, I'm going to present to you my top 10 Steven Seagal movies. An actor that I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with. I love all the movies we're going to cover in the top 10, and spoiler alert, they're going to be all of his movies from the 90s basically, because after that it went downhill for Mr. Seagal quickly. But all of his movies in the 90s, in my opinion, are action classics, especially his like first 5 movies or something, really hard-hitting action. And yeah, it's almost a shame where it went wrong, and with his ego and stuff like that, and how he let himself go, you know, around the waist and everything. And the quality of his movies, of course, has gone down a crapper in probably the last decade, like a lot. But the movies here in the top 10 I recommend to everyone, and yeah, without any further ado, let's just jump in, and here's my top 10 Steven Seagal movies. And in at number 10 we have the 1996 buddy cop action movie The Glimmer Man. This one stars Steven Seagal alongside Keenan Ivory Wayans. Like I said, it's a buddy cop movie, sort of Seagal's version of Lethal Weapon, but a very poor version, which is why it probably is number 10. This movie follows Steven Seagal and Keenan Ivory Wayans as 2 cops who are on the case of the Family Man, a gruesome serial killer who kills mostly women. And yeah, the best men have to be on the job, and of course one of them is Steven Seagal. And it is revealed that he is not what he seems to be, which is a theme that runs through all of his movies. It is revealed that he has been a CIA operative, or fill in whatever you want there. It's pretty much always the same. He's an ex this, he's an ex that, but in this movie it still worked because Seagal was still in his prime at this stage. Even though this movie wasn't really that well received critically and commercially, I still think it's a fantastic Steven Seagal movie, a bit underrated. Not his best, but like I said, a bit underrated. It's directed by Sir John Gray, who I haven't seen too many movies of. Actually can't think of one. I should actually see if he's done anything other that's noteworthy, but anyway, there you have it, The Glimmer Man, 1996, at number 10. At number 9 we have actually a movie from the early 2000s. Yes, this is going to be the only one from this century that's going to be on this list. This is 2001's Exit Wounds, which this is a great movie. Really the last good Steven Seagal movie that he did, because after this he did Half Past Dead, which was his last theatrical movie, before making a slew of and a string of straight-to-DVD movies, and then coming back for his last theatrical appearance in 2010's Machete, which he had a supporting role in as a villain. But anyway, 2001's Exit Wounds is a fantastic movie in my opinion. A little too much wire work, but I still like it. He plays a tough cop called Oren Boyd, who's had a bit of a rough time. He's demoted to being a traffic cop, and then stuff happens. He's investigating a case. He's back, as a detective or a inspector or whatever. He's a tough as nails cop. DMX co-stars in this movie, which I actually don't mind him. I actually don't mind DMX in the movie. Tom Arnold, great comedic sidekick role he does. Anthony Anderson, again, good comedic sidekick for the villain actually. But yeah, if you haven't seen Exit Wounds, I recommend. There's really good action sequences in there. I love one of the earlier scenes where Seagal has to go into anger management, and he sits down, and Seagal is a big guy. Now of course he's even bigger, but I mean tall. He was a tall guy back then, and big. So he tries to sit down in his little desk chair. It doesn't really fit. So he's messing with it. He chops it to hell and stuff. And then he's like, I want you guys to know something. I'm a happy guy. You see this face? This is a happy face. You all be lucky to be as happy as I am. But that's kind of the way Steven Seagal talks. He does a whispery voice. I thought that was a great scene with his stoned face. Not stoned like high, but his like Charles Bronson stone face. Very stern face. He just says, this is a happy face. You all be lucky to be as happy as I am. I love that. And Exit Wounds, I totally recommend for anybody that hasn't seen it. Like I said, the last good Seagal movie. Not a great one, but a good one. And enough to be included in the top 10 here. At number 8, we have 1994's On Deadly Ground, Steven Seagal's first directorial effort, and to date his last. This actually is, in my opinion, really underrated. Yes, the movie doesn't make a lot of sense. He tries to protect the environment by blowing up an oil rig in the end of the movie. Yeah, and then he gives this very lectury speech at the end, about the environment. But aside from that, good action sequences, great supporting cast. You got Michael Caine as the main villain. I mean, hey, where can you go wrong there? And you also have the likes of Arlie Ermey, Billy Bob Thornton in there. John C. McGinley, who's the doctor from Scrubs. He's also in this as a maniacal villain. And there's some really good action sequences in there. He plays, and Steven Seagal has one of the most badass names in this movie, Forrest Taft. For some reason, that just really, I love that, Forrest Taft. Like I said, it's a bit of a mess, but I still think it's a bit underrated. I still take it above any of his straight-to-DVD work. So yeah, I recommend this one. This one, like I said, directed by Steven Seagal himself. On Deadly Ground from 1994. Check it out. And coming in at number 7, we have 1995's Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. Yes, the sequel to his most popular hit, Under Siege. This is the second one. Which I was always kind of debating, do I like the first one better or the second one? Because I love them both. But in the end I thought, I think the first one is still a little bit better than the second one. However, having said that, I love this sequel, which Steven Seagal returns as Casey Ryback, ex-Navy SEAL turned cook, who is now on a train with his niece because his brother has died. So he's taking care of his niece and tries to reconnect with his niece because he hasn't seen her in a lot of years. And they go on this train ride, and surprise, surprise, the train is captured, and everybody is held hostage by terrorists. And Steven Seagal again is the only guy who can stop him. Great movie. It builds on the original very well. The first one was on a boat, where the action arguably was a bit slower, and the second one is just a train. You can do a lot more with that. So that's why I always sort of prefer the second one. But like I said, re-evaluating it for this list, I went for the first one to be better in terms of ranking, but I still love this second one. On the train the action goes so fast. Great fight scenes. I love the fight scene between him and what's the actor's name? He was also in Heartbreak Ridge with Clint Eastwood. He was also in License to Kill, the Bond movie. Oh, I forget the actor's name. I know somebody's going to mention it, or I might put it here in text, or maybe I'll even put a picture of him here. But I love the fight scene between him and that guy, between Seagal that guy. I forget the actor's name. This rarely happens to me. We'll let it slide for now. Anyway, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory. Seagal agreed to do this sequel if Warner Brothers would let him direct on Deadly Ground, so that's what happened. And I think it's a great sequel. It's a bit of a shame that there never was a third movie. I would have loved to see a third Under Siege movie in the 90s. I don't care if he's going to do it now. I don't think I will see it. It will probably be straight to DVD, more likely than not. And also, even more likely than not, it won't be so good anymore. So, anyway, Under Siege 2, Dark Territory, at number 7. At number 6, we have Steven Seagal's debut. This is 1988's Above the Law, aka Nico, which that is the movie's title in Europe and in the UK, I believe, from my understanding. America, it's called Above the Law, and it's a great debut for Steven Seagal, his very first movie. Hard-hitting action, great supporting cast, great direction, directed by Andrew Davis, who did The Fugitive later on, and Under Siege with Seagal as well. And before, he had done a very similar movie with Chuck Norris, Code of Silence. I actually prefer this a bit, the Code of Silence. It's kind of, like I said, similar, but I prefer it to the Chuck Norris version. It's like they took that and built upon it for the better. Not that I'm saying anything is wrong with Code of Silence. That's a great Chuck Norris movie, which we'll definitely cover once I throw my head in and do a Chuck Norris video. But yeah, Above the Law, Steven Seagal plays Nico Toscani, a ex-CIA operative who has been in Vietnam. That's where the movie actually opens, and Seagal actually tells a bit of his real story, a bit fictionalized, of course, for the character, but yeah, Seagal really learned martial arts when he watched according to him, of course, and Seagal is known to be a bit of a unreliable source, let's say, but Seagal himself has said that the way he got into martial arts was he was at a football stadium with his father, and he saw this old man there giving a demonstration of Aikido or any type of martial arts, and he wanted to do that. And he tells that also in the movie, in the beginning of this movie. That's how Nico Toscani got into martial arts. And then you see footage of Seagal in the dojo and stuff like that. And man, this is his first movie, and he does very well in this movie. Like I said, great supporting cast. You got my favorite blaxploitation chick, Pam Grier, awesome, I love her. Henry Silva's the main bad guy, always makes for a reliable bad guy. And it takes place in Chicago in 1988. Like I said, the opening scene we see in Vietnam, and then we jump to 1988. Yeah, Seagal has left the agency because he saw this guy called Saigon, played by Henry Silva, interrogate Vietnamese people in a very unorthodox way. This Saigon guy is a top CIA guy, and he wants Seagal eliminated, so he escapes from Vietnam. And then we cut to 1988, and Seagal is now, Nico Toscani is now a police officer in Chicago, and his family is part of the mafia, so that was interesting. He's a cop, but his family was mafia. Again, this is a theme that will repeat itself in a later Seagal movie. But yeah, I just love this movie. 1988, it's Above the Law. Nico, check it out if you haven't, because it's a Seagal gem, one of his all-time bests. But there are, of course, some that are better, and let's get into them right now. And at number 5, we have 1992's Under Siege. Yes, the very first original Under Siege. Like I said, I debated between this one and the second one. This one is definitely the best because of the supporting cast and the villains. In which the villains really steal the show. I mean, plot of the movie, Steven Seagal plays Casey Ryback, a cook on a naval vessel, the USS Missouri, I believe. So he's a cook. We don't know anything else beyond this point. And the captain of the ship is having a surprise party thrown for him. Of course, he doesn't know about it. He does find out about it, but anyway, there's a surprise party for the captain of the ship planned. Seagal is cooking. And then we have Commander Krill, played by Gary Busey, one of the villains in this movie. He thwarts Seagal's surprise soup that he's making for the captain. He throws him in the freezer. Then the party for the captain happens while Seagal is stuck in the freezer, and then the terrorists come, led by Tommy Lee Jones, who first they pose as this sort of like blues and rock band. On board is also Erica Laniak as Miss July '89 Jordan Tate, and we all know that one scene that she has in the movie, which is one of my all-time most paused moments when I was a young adolescent watching this movie. That was one of those scenes I used to rewind, watch it again, rewind, watch it again, rewind, watch it again, pause it, and I won't say anything beyond this point. Anyway, yeah, the terrorists take over the party and take over the ship. The captain is dead, and now Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey and their posse of terrorists have taken control of the ship, which has atomic missiles on board. And then Seagal, of course, is the only man who can stop it. Yes, all-time action classic. It's a die-hard rip-off, of course, but it's a very good one. It's if not the best, it's one of the best in my opinion anyway. So if you haven't checked this out, 1992's Under Siege, I highly recommend you do so. So that was Under Siege at number 5. And coming in at number 4, we have Hard to Kill from 1990. Steven Seagal's second movie, and I always love this one. It's the one where Seagal plays, are you ready for this? This is the most badass name ever. One of the most badass names ever. Seagal plays Mason fucking Storm. Yes, I added the fucking, but it fits. A cop from, where does this movie take place? I believe it's Los Angeles. A Los Angeles cop who investigates this crime lord called Calabrese is videotaping at the beginning of the movie. He's discovered, and then people are sent to kill Steven Seagal in the beginning of the movie. They actually succeed in killing his wife and wounding him, so that he goes into a coma for 7 years. After that he wakes up, and of course he wants revenge. That was the easiest plot to explain of all of these movies. There you go, Hard to Kill. No, of course I'm kidding. Great movie, this one. Great direction by Bruce Malmuth, who actually did Nighthawks with Sylvester Stallone. Another underrated action classic I recommend to everybody to check out. And this one is also noteworthy for having Kelly LeBrock co-starring, which at the time she was Steven Seagal's wife. Yeah, I felt sorry for her too. Yeah, because there are also some stories considering Steven Seagal and women. We're not going to get into that. Anyway, 1990s Hard to Kill, great movie. And in my opinion, this might be one of the inspirations for Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill. I don't know, but being sent in a coma for a few years, waking up in revenge. Of course, it's a plot that has been done multiple times, but the way it's done, and with the waking up and everything of the coma, I sense a bit of similarities between this and Tarantino. Of course, Tarantino does it way better, but not to say that this isn't entertaining to watch as well. I love the beard on Seagal when he wakes up too. It's hilarious. Anyway, that was Hard to Kill at number 4. Check it out. And at number 3, we have 1997's Fire Down Below. Yeah, I always felt that this movie was a underrated action movie. It's a bit more slower pace, I'll give you that, yes. And again, it has to deal with the environment and stuff like that, but I think it's done way better here than in On Deadly Ground, and there's not so many preachy moments from Seagal like he did on Deadly Ground. And I just love this movie. I love the country aspect to it, that he's really in like the in this like country western setting, in a small town in Kentucky, I believe. Yeah, I love the setting. I love the feeling of this. I love the country music in this movie. I'm a bit of a country music fan, for those that didn't know. So I thought this was a great movie, really. And like I said, there might be a few less action sequences than in some other Steven Seagal hard-hitting action movies. Believe me, those will be coming up in the last 2 spots. But I just always love this movie. I love the chemistry between him and Marge Helgenberger. I think it's actually, in terms of acting, it might be the best Steven Seagal has ever attempted to do. I say attempted because, of course, it's still Steven Seagal. He's still a bit wooden. when it comes to the acting, but I think it's actually his finest acting job. Because I think he actually was really trying with this one. I mean, it might be me, but that's how I feel anyway. But the chemistry between him and Mark Helgenberg, I like that. I love Chris Christoph. I can never pronounce that name. Chris Christopherson. Yes, I love him as the villain. I think he did great. And yeah, when the action sequences are here in the movie, I think they're really good. You know, with Seagal in the fight scene and stuff like that. I love the outside fight with the wood outside of the lumber yard or whatever it is. Yeah, I just love this movie, and it's my number 3. And yeah, like I said, it's my list. Everybody has a different opinion. I would love to know yours. So if you have a top 10 Seagal movies list, by all means put it down below, and maybe we can discuss a few. Who knows? Anyway, this is my number 3, Fire Down Below from 1997, which also was the year I was born, yours truly. So I always love, when movies are from the year I was born. But that's a side note. Anyway, moving on. So at number 2, we have the second best Steven Seagal movie ever. I know for some people this might be number 1. It's a tough one between this one and my number 1, but at number 2 we have 1990s, Marked for Death. I absolutely love this movie to death. Steven Seagal plays ex-DEA agent John Hatcher, who retires after the opening sequence of the movie, of course, retires. And he goes to his family in Chicago to try to get some peace, because some stuff happened in the opening sequence. He wants to escape from the life for a bit. But he finds that his neighborhood is being terrorized by a Jamaican drug posse, and once they target his family for termination, and basically he and his family have been marked for death, hence the title. That's when Steven Seagal goes and gets even and he wipes out every Jamaican drug criminal in the city and outside the city. This movie even takes us to Jamaica, which I always think is a great location for movies. Like in the Bond movies, they used Jamaica a bunch of times. I love Jamaica as a country. I love Jamaica as a country. I always love to visit it. Maybe it will happen one day once this whole COVID shit is over. But yeah, I love this movie. I love the reggae music in it. We have Jimmy Cliff doing a few of the songs, who is a Rasta and reggae musician legend. And this is some hard-hitting action. The villain Screwface, played by Basil Wallace, I think is one of the best villains I've ever seen in a movie. He's so scary and intimidating, and he also hams it up. You see this guy is loving, playing this Screwface character, and he's having fun in this role. I love seeing it, and not that I want to offend people, but I'm going to try to do a scene, one of my favorite quotes from him, so I'm going to attempt a very bad Jamaican accent, so please don't feel offended, anyone. But I love the moment. He has a few great lines, but I love in particular, me and my dad, when we watch this movie, we always quote this scene when it's coming up, or even before it or after. But it's like when a few of Screwface's people have been killed and somebody breaks the news to him, he says, "Yesterday, who did the white boy Hacha?" And then he tells him, and then he gets mad and he says, "I want Hacha dead. I want his family dead. If you can't kill him, I go kill him, and then I'll kill you." Sorry again for the bad Jamaican accent, but I love that moment. There's another few lines from his. He's one of the most quotable Seagal villains, in my opinion. He also says, "He was a dog with no teeth," and stuff like that. And I can't even remember it off the top of my head. I and I are everywhere, and stuff like that. "Let no man stray you from the path I have prepared." I'm gonna stop doing the Jamaican accent now, because it's really not that good. I really don't want to offend anyone. But yeah, Mark for Death, hard action. Like I said, he decapitates one. I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but he decapitates one of the villains in this movie, one of the guys. And this is one of the first movies where Seagal breaks an arm. I believe Hard to Kill was first in that, but Seagal breaking limbs and stuff like that, putting arms in places where they shouldn't go. Love it. Check it out. Mark for Death at number 2. And at number 1, my all-time favorite Steven Seagal movie, and that's, in my opinion, his most hard-hitting, Out for Justice, 1991, baby. Yes. Yeah, this is my favorite Steven Seagal movie. Ever since I saw it for the first time, I was like, this is the best one. Directed by John Flynn, who also did Lock Up with Sylvester Stallone, another underrated movie. Co-starring William Forsythe as the villain. This guy does an amazing job as Richie. And I love Seagal's Brooklyn accent. Again, I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm going to try it. I love it, when he does his lines, he's looking for Richie. I'm going to keep coming back to somebody. Remember seeing Richie. And stuff like that. Yeah, he plays a cop, once again. Who grew up as a part of the mafia, I guess, because he grew up around gangsters. He didn't really join the mob, but he is really connected with the mob in some way. So like I said, that theme does recur in some of his movies. He plays Gino Felino, I believe is the name of the character. Gino. A tough Italian-American Brooklyn cop. One of his childhood friends, Richie, played by William Forsythe, goes on a killing spree and Seagal goes after him. That's basically the plot in a nutshell. But it's a fantastic one. It takes place pretty much over one day. We start in the morning when Richie kills Bobby Lupo. Anybody knows who Richie is? Bobby Lupo. Then Richie kills a random woman, and then the hunt starts. Seagal goes after him, and we end the movie at midnight with the final confrontation. Then we do have an epilogue scene afterwards. But it takes place pretty much over an entire day, and I love it. It's just Seagal hunting down William Forsythe as the villain. And yeah, hard-hitting action. The butcher shop scene, great fight scene in there. The final fight with Richie, really great fight scene. Brutal. I love it. The most hard-hitting Steven Seagal movie in my opinion, and my favorite. And it also has one of my favorite cuss words in it. Right at the very end. I'm gonna set it up. Seagal finds this. Seagal is driving in one scene. Then he has a car in front of him. He throws out a plastic bag, the car in front of him. So he stops and gets out, and it's a puppy in the back. The guy just threw away a puppy out the window. And then Seagal looks at the license plate and stuff. Then I think he has a sticker there. May God sort him out, something like that. And he's like, he has a dog. Please God, let me run into this guy someday. And then that's actually a setup for a great payoff in the very end of the movie, where he actually does find that guy, and he looks at him and he's like, "Hey, fuck nuts!" And I love that cuss word, "fuck nuts." I actually use that a lot in my day-to-day life. Yeah, I love that just for that. Not just for that, but mainly because of that, as well as all the other reasons I listed. This is my all-time favorite Steven Seagal movie. And yeah, that's all I have for you. So at this point I want to thank everybody for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, I do a lot of these top 10s. I covered actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm planning to do tons more. If you do like it, consider hitting the subscribe button, so you will not miss out on any of the videos that I will do, and believe me, they are coming. Yeah, I just hope that everybody has enjoyed it. Get a conversation going in the comments. Let me know what your guys' favorite Steven Seagal movies are and why, and let's have a bit of a discussion. So that's always great. I love interacting with all of you guys, the movie fans, the movie collecting community. And this was actually one of the easiest top 10 for me to do, because all I had to do was just take my favorite Seagal movies, which are all from the 90s, and okay, we had one in there from the 2000s. But I love doing this anyway. I love Steven Seagal in his golden age, from 88 until 2001, I will say. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, do all that stuff, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And yeah, everybody stay safe, stay well, stay healthy, and see you in the next one. So long for now. Adios, amigos.